Imagine discovering something that the world has never seen, just for it to disappear forever, never to be seen again. Creatures so rare and so mysterious that we only know they exist because someone, somewhere, caught a single glimpse. From glowing sharks with pockets to red leopard cats, today we're diving into 5 of the rarest, most mysterious animals that were only seen once, starting with American pocket shark, a shark with pockets. This tiny shark, barely 5.5 inches long, was discovered in the Gulf of Mexico during a 2010 research trip that was actually focused on researching sperm whales. It wasn't until 3 years later that scientists at NOAA took a closer look and realized that they had found a tiny shark species completely unknown to science. And here's the wildest part. This was only the second pocket shark ever discovered. The first one, known as the pocket shark, was caught way back in 1979, thousands of miles off the coast of Chile. For decades, scientists thought it was the only one of its kind. Then, suddenly, the American pocket shark shows up in the Gulf of Mexico. That's just nuts. Now, this little guy isn't your typical shark. The American pocket shark has a round, bulbous, almost whale-like head, a light gray body, and darker fins. Around its skin are tiny clusters of photophores, basically little light-producing organs, which it probably uses to camouflage itself in the deep sea. But the real mystery, and arguably the coolest thing about this shark, are those 2 strange pockets behind its front fins. They're actually tiny little glands, which scientists think are capable of secreting a glowing fluid that could help attract prey or communicate with other sharks. How insane is that? It's like a little shark spraying its own neon-colored perfume at a rave to try and attract mates. No one knows for sure that that's what this pocket is used for, as we've only ever seen one. And that's the thing, that single specimen, a juvenile immature male weighing just half an ounce that was caught in a deep sea research net over 980 feet below the surface, and since then, there's been no record since. It's been over a decade, and despite countless surveys and trawls, no one's ever seen another American pocket shark. Does that mean it's gone? Probably not extinct, but it does show how insanely little we know about the deep sea and just the ocean in general. These sharks live in the bathypelagic zone in literal pitch black waters thousands of feet down, and humans almost never explore there. They're so small, so elusive, that even if they're abundant in the deep sea, we never really know it. If we're ever going to find another pocket shark, it'll probably once again be by accident. But until then, the American pocket shark remains one of the most mysterious creatures ever caught. A shark with a built-in pocket, seen once and never again. Now, this next animal is actually a real mystery, and it just so happens to be one of the rarest cats in the world. This is the Galeras cat, also called by some the Nerino cat or red tigrina. Sadly, like many of the other species, we don't even know for sure if this animal still exists. All we have is one single skin that was collected way back in 1989 on the Galeras volcano high in the Andes of southern Colombia, over 10,000 feet above sea level. The skin shows a small spotted cat, part of the Leopardus family, but unlike other tigrinas, its fur is a striking reddish-orange with black rosettes that are deeper red on the inside. The cat's total body length is around 1.5 foot long, with an almost 1 foot long tail. What's nuts to think is that all of this detail that we have now comes from a single skin, a literal clue. Now, the skin sat in a Colombian institute for decades, initially mistaken for an ordinary tigrina, until a scientist in 2001 spotted some kind of an anomaly and then spent the next 2 decades studying it. Genetic analysis later showed that its DNA doesn't match any other known cat species, and both nuclear and mitochondrial sequences were found to be unique. Can you believe that? A completely distinct lineage, divergent from other Leopardus species 1.2 to 1.9 million years ago, that was quite literally hiding in plain sight all this time. Since that collection, no other individuals have been found. Trail cams have been placed all across southern Colombia since 2018 that haven't picked it up, and surveys till now have turned up nothing. Its high altitude habitat is extremely fragmented and under pressure from human activity. So, if the Galeras cat still exists, it's probably in tiny numbers. It could already be extinct, or maybe it's just super elusive, seemingly purposefully staying hidden. So, what would it take to see one again? Scientists would need to confirm a living population. In order to do that, they need to locate additional skins or skulls from local hunters, ideally capture some kind of genetic material to understand its relationship to other tigrinas. Until then, Galaris cat remains a species of cat that we only know from a single pelt that was found all those years ago. Next up, a bright orange gliding squirrel that's only ever been seen once, the Namdapha flying squirrel. This is one of the rarest mammals on Earth, found deep in the jungles of northern India. This animal is honestly so incredibly beautiful. It's got this crazy reddish grizzled fur and this white belly, and its patagium, the thin membrane that stretches between its limbs and lets it glide through the trees, is orange. And here's one of the craziest things about the squirrel. So from head to tail, this squirrel is 3.5 feet. That is a pretty damn big squirrel. And if you imagine that thing soaring silently over the canopy at night, it's insane. But not as insane as the story of its discovery, which was just fascinating. Back in 1981, a zoologist named Shyam Rup Biwas and his team was surveying wildlife in Namdapha National Park, which is a massive misty rainforest tucked between India and Myanmar, a place I'd really love to visit one day. And that's when they stumbled across a single specimen of a flying squirrel unlike anything they'd ever seen. Lo and behold, it turned out to be an entirely new species. And since that one sighting, which is now almost 44 years ago, not a single confirmed sighting has ever been made again. Can you believe that? One of the largest flying squirrels in the world, something you'd think would easily be seen if it was up in the treetops, seen once and seemingly never again. Now, something really cool is that a few possible relatives have popped up over the years. 2013, researchers found a similar species in Laos, the Laotian giant flying squirrel. And in 2018, another was described in China called the Mount Galagong flying squirrel. All three of these have been tested and found to be in the same ultra-rare genus as our Namdapha flying squirrel, making them some of the most mysterious rodents in the entire world. As for why we haven't seen the Namdapha flying squirrel again, well, that's the saddest part. The national park that it belongs to is remote, yes, but it's not exactly untouched. There's hunting, there's poaching for bushmeat, ongoing habitat loss from logging, there's habitat encroachment. The forest where that first squirrel was found could easily have been changed since then, but some scientists think that the species might survive in small numbers hidden away in the park's steep valleys and high ironwood forests.